The soft hum of the verdant spire was Elara's lullaby. It was a gentle, resonant thrum, like a giant, slumbering creature breathing in the vast silence of space. Her bedroom, nestled within one of the habitat's bioluminescent domes, glowed with a calming emerald light filtered through living plant walls. Outside her window, a sprawling panorama of stars glittered, undisturbed by atmosphere, each one a distant, silent promise. Elara was already tucked into her sonic suspension bed, its gentle vibrations easing the last wisps of the day's energy from her limbs. Her datapad lay on the bioluminescent nightstand, its screen dark. Tonight she wouldn't be reading. Tonight was a Chrono night. She shifted, pulling her favorite synth silk blanket, patterned with ancient constellations, up to her chin. A familiar ache, sweet and sharp, settled in her chest. It was the ache of missing her grandmother, Lyra. Lyra had been gone for 3 cycles now, but her presence still lingered in the quiet corners of Elara's world, especially in this room, which had once been Lyra's study. It was Lyra who had first introduced Elara to the Chrono Weave. Not as a mere entertainment system, but as a window, a library, a bridge. Time, Lyra had explained, her voice a soft melody, isn't just a line stretching from past to future, Elara. It's a tapestry, woven with countless threads, each moment a knot, each life a pattern. The Chrono Weave merely allows us to feel the texture of those threads. The Chrono Weave wasn't a physical device Elara wore. It was an ambient technology, integrated into the very structure of the verdant spire, drawing on the immense processing power of the station's central core. In rooms designated for temporal immersion, like Elara's, the walls themselves shimmered with latent energy, waiting for a prompt. Lyra, a renowned temporal historian, had spent her life exploring these threads, documenting them, sharing them. Tonight, Elara wanted to revisit a specific thread. Not a grand historical event, not a glimpse of a potential future, but a quiet, precious memory. A memory of her grandmother. She closed her eyes, focusing her intent. The verdant spire's neural interface, subtle as a whisper, responded. A faint, almost imperceptible shift occurred in the room. The emerald glow deepened, then began to swirl, like luminous mist. The hum intensified, a low melodic thrumming that resonated in her bones. When she opened her eyes, the walls of her room were no longer solid. They were translucent, shimmering with countless multi-hued strands of light, the temporal threads Lyra had spoken of. They pulsed gently, each color representing a different epoch, a different moment in the grand tapestry. Golden threads for ancient Earth, silver for the age of expansion, deep blues for the interstellar diaspora, and iridescent greens for the present. Elara reached out a hand, not physically touching, but guiding with her thoughts. She sought the thread of her own past, a specific memory, a moment of warmth and wisdom. It was like searching for a particular star in a crowded sky, but her connection to Lyra was a beacon. She felt a gentle tug, a resonance, and a thread, a vibrant, warm gold, shimmered brighter than the rest. Access memory. Lyra's study, solar cycle 2397, 10th night, approximately 20:00 standard, she thought, her voice a soft whisper in the quiet room. The golden thread swelled, then unfurled, expanding rapidly. The swirling lights resolved into distinct images, then textures, then sounds. The bioluminescent walls dissolved completely, replaced by the familiar, comforting sight of Lyra's study. It wasn't just a visual projection, it was a full sensory immersion. The air grew warmer, carrying the faint, comforting scent of Lyra's preferred herbal tea, jasmine and ginger, and the subtle aroma of old paper and dust motes dancing in sunbeams. Elara felt the plush rug beneath her bare feet, though she was still in her bed. The ambient hum of the Chrono Weave faded, replaced by the gentle crackle of Lyra's ancient holographic fireplace, a concession to her love of archaic comforts. Lyra herself was there, seated in her favorite armchair, a worn crimson velvet piece that seemed to absorb and reflect the holographic flames. She was just as Elara remembered her, silver hair, meticulously braided, spectacles perched on her nose, a warm, knowing smile playing on her lips. In her lap lay a magnificent, antique globe, not a holographic one, but a heavy physical sphere, its surface a mosaic of meticulously crafted continents and oceans. Elara, as a child of 6, was perched on the ottoman opposite her grandmother, her eyes wide with wonder. This was the memory. This was the night Lyra had taught her about the blue marble, ancient earth. Look, Elara. Lyra's voice was a soft melodic hum, perfectly reproduced by the Chrono weave. It wrapped around Elara like a physical embrace. This is Earth, as it was before the great shifting, a true blue marble, floating in the vastness. Young Elara pointed a small finger at the globe. So much water, Nana. Where are the land cities? Lyra chuckled, a sound like wind chimes. Most of them are under the water now, my dear, but once these vast oceans were teeming with life. And these, she traced a finger over a greenish-brown landmass, these were continents, enormous stretches of land where people built cities, farmed, explored. Elara watched her younger self, captivated by the wonder in her own eyes. She remembered this night so clearly, the way Lyra's fingers felt, cool and soft, tracing the contours of the globe. The story Lyra told, of ancient sailing ships and brave explorers, had ignited a spark of curiosity about the past that still burned within her. Lyra pointed to a large blue expanse on the globe. This, Elara, is the Pacific Ocean, the largest of them all. So vast, you could fit all the other continents inside it. Young Elara gasped. Really? Really? Lyra confirmed, her eyes twinkling. And it held so many secrets, so many creatures we can only imagine now. Whales the size of starships, colorful coral cities, fish that glowed in the dark. Elara felt a familiar warmth bloom in her chest, a mixture of love and nostalgia. These Chrono weave visits were more than just replays. They were living, breathing echoes of the past. She could almost reach out and touch Lyra's hand, feel the smooth surface of the old globe. She closed her eyes for a moment, savoring the feeling of being with her grandmother again, even if only in memory. When she opened them, Lyra was still pointing at the Pacific Ocean. But something was different. It was fleeting, a mere flicker, like a ripple in a perfectly still pond. For a fraction of a second, superimposed over the blue expanse of the Pacific, Elara saw not ocean, but something else entirely. It was a faint, translucent image, almost like a ghost. It looked like a complex, intricate pattern of stars, but not any constellation Elara recognized. It was too dense, too geometrically precise, almost like a circuit diagram etched into the fabric of the sky. And within that stellar pattern, a single glowing symbol, reminiscent of an ancient spiral galaxy, but with an unsettling, jagged edge. It vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving the Pacific Ocean once again a pristine blue. Elara blinked, certain her eyes were playing tricks on her. The Chrono weave was notoriously stable. Glitches were rare, especially in such a deeply stored, frequently accessed memory. She focused, her gaze unwavering on the globe. Lyra continued her story, oblivious, her voice a soothing drone about ancient currents and volcanic islands. Young Elara was still rapt. Elara waited, her heart thrumming a slightly different rhythm now. Was it just her imagination wishing to find something new in an old memory? Then it happened again. Lyra, still pointing, moved her finger slightly. And for another brief instant, the same ghostly star pattern, the same jagged spiral symbol, flickered into existence, not just over the ocean, but subtly overlaid on Lyra's own hand. It was as if her grandmother's hand was momentarily transparent, revealing this strange underlying schematic. This time, Elara was certain. She hadn't imagined it. It was too distinct, too out of place. The pattern wasn't part of the globe, nor was it part of the memory's original ambience. It was an intrusion, a foreign element woven into the temporal thread itself. Her initial feeling of warmth gave way to a prickle of unease. Lyra had always stressed the immutable nature of temporal echoes. You can observe, Elara, she'd often said, but you can never interfere. The past is fixed, a record, not a canvas to be painted upon. Yet, what Elara had just seen suggested a canvas that had been altered, or perhaps a record that was not as pristine as she had always believed. She tried to rewind, to pause the memory at the exact moment of the flicker, But the Chrono's weave, while immersive, didn't allow for such precise real-time manipulation of a memory stream. It flowed like a river, and she was merely a passenger. The memory continued its gentle course. Lyra finished her tale of the Pacific, then turned the globe to show young Elara the vast, ancient landmasses, the towering mountain ranges, the dense green forests that once covered much of the planet. Elara tried to search for the flicker again, but it didn't reappear. The memory remained as she remembered it, warm and comforting, yet now tinged with a strange, unsettling question. Who or what could possibly alter a temporal echo? And why? The chronosweave, sensing the natural conclusion of the memory loop, began its gentle withdrawal. The edges of Lyra's study began to blur, the scents to fade, the sounds to soften. The shimmering temporal threads reappeared, slowly coalescing, pulling Elara back from the past. The warm glow of Lyra's study gave way to the familiar emerald light of her bedroom. The gentle crackle of the holographic fire was replaced by the low, steady hum of the verdant spire. Elara was back in her bed, her synth silk blanket still pulled to her chin. She lay there for a long moment, her heart still thrumming, her mind replaying the fleeting, impossible images. The strange star pattern. The jagged spiral. They felt significant, like a secret message hidden within the fabric of time itself. A soft click at her door announced her father's arrival. Kalen, tall and kind, his face lined with the gentle worry of a single parent, stepped into the room. His own eyes, the same shade of deep blue as Elara's, were already soft with sleep. "Still awake, my little star navigator?" he asked, his voice a low rumble. He walked over to her bed, his silhouette framed by the gentle light. He bent down and pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. "Good chronosweave journey." Elara nodded, pulling her blanket tighter. She wanted to tell him, to describe the impossible flicker, the strange symbol. But the words felt too big, too complex, for the peaceful calm of bedtime. And, deep down, a part of her felt a strange protectiveness over the discovery. It was in-care discovery, a secret shared with a ghost in the chronosweave. "It was good, Papa," she said, her voice small. "Nana told me about the Pacific Ocean again." Kalen smiled, a distant look in his eyes. "She loved that story. She loved showing you the old world." He smoothed her hair. "You know, your Nana always said the past had more secrets than the future." Elara looked up at him, her blue eyes wide. "Do you think so, Papa?" He chuckled softly. "She was the expert, not me. Now, sleep, my dear. Tomorrow's another cycle." He kissed her forehead again, then straightened, heading for the door. "Sweet dreams, Elara." "Good night, Papa," she whispered as the door slid shut, plunging her back into the soft, emerald glow. Elara closed her eyes, but sleep felt very far away. The image of the strange star pattern, the jagged spiral, danced behind her eyelids. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. "The past has more secrets than the future." Way, for now. And Elara, for the first time, truly believed her. She had just seen one. And she had a feeling it was only the beginning. Elara closed her eyes, but sleep felt very far away. The image of the strange star pattern, the jagged spiral, danced behind her eyelids. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. Why the past has more secrets than the future. Oh, Ain. And Elara, for the first time, truly believed her. She had just seen one. And she had a feeling it was only the beginning. She lay still for a long moment, the emerald glow from the biodynamic wall panels casting shimmering patterns on her ceiling. Usually, the glow was a soothing lullaby, a gentle transition into dream state. Tonight, it felt like a silent co-conspirator, a witness to her racing thoughts. Her mind, usually so eager to drift into the stories Papa spun, was now alight with a different kind of narrative, one unfolding in her own head. She shifted, pushing aside the ultra-soft synth silk blanket. She had to say it again. Not just in her mind, but clearly. "Lumi," she whispered, her voice barely audible in the quiet room. From a subtle shimmer in the emerald wall, a soft chime-like sound responded. "Yes, Elara, is there something you need? Would you like the story stream to continue? Lumi's voice was warm, perfectly modulated, like the gentle hum of a distant starship. Lumi was the room's ambient intelligence, her personal companion, designed to cater to her every need and whim, from adjusting temperature to projecting fantastical worlds. Now Lumi, I need to see something Papa showed me. Elara sat up, swinging her legs over the side of her bed. Her bare feet touched the thermostatic floor, which warmed instantly to her touch. It was a star pattern, a strange one, a spiral, but Lumi's emerald shimmer pulsed softly. Papa did not log any unusual star patterns during your story time, Elara. His last projection was the nebula of whispering lights, a standard astronomical display. Elara frowned. No, not from hissing story stream. It was a different one. When he touched the old datapad, the one from Grandma Lyra, a brief, almost imperceptible pause. Ah, the ancestral data slate. I detect a momentary energy fluctuation during that interaction. However, no visual data was recorded or logged to my primary memory banks. Papa deactivated the display immediately. Lumi sounded apologetic, a hint of electronic entschärfe in her tone. But we saw it, Elara insisted, scrambling to her feet. She walked to the wall where the display had been, running her hand over the smooth, cool surface. It was like a galaxy, but not smooth. It had sharp edges, and it was blue, but with streaks of red. She tried to conjure the image, willing it to appear. Lumi's shimmer intensified slightly. Elara, your neural patterns indicate a strong visual recall. Would you like me to attempt a reconstruction based on your mental imagery? Elara's eyes widened. You can do that. My biofeedback processors are highly sensitive to your cognitive input, particularly during states of elevated focus. Please concentrate on the image, Elara. Elara closed her eyes again, picturing the moment Papa had touched the datapad. The flash of blue and red. The spiral sharp and almost angry-looking. She focused, willing the image to coalesce. When she opened her eyes, a faint ghostly outline began to form on the wall. It was blurry at first, like trying to remember a dream, but as Elara focused harder, it sharpened. There it was. The jagged spiral. Not as vibrant as she remembered, more a pale blue phosphorescence against the dark emerald, but unmistakably the same pattern. It looked ancient, mysterious, almost menacing in its starkness. That's it, she breathed, pressing her palm against the cool surface. That's exactly it, Lumi. Reconstruction confirmed, Lumi stated, a note of curiosity in her otherwise placid voice. This pattern does not correlate with any known star charts, galactic formations, or astronomical phenomena in the universal database. It appears to be an entirely unique construct. Unique? That word sent a thrill through Elara. Her grandmother had been right. This wasn't just a pretty picture. It was a secret. Grandma Lyra knew about it, Elara murmured, more to herself than to Lumi. She said the past had secrets. Grandmother Lyra possessed a vast repository of historical data and personal archives, Lumi confirmed. Many of her personal files remain encrypted, accessible only via specific biokeys or legacy protocols that Papa has not yet enabled for general access. Specific biokeys. Elara chewed on her lip. She remembered her grandmother, Lyra, a woman with eyes that twinkled like distant nebulae and hands that always smelled of ozone and ancient parchment. Lyra, who loved to tell stories not of far-off futures, but of forgotten pasts. Lyra, who had given Elara a small smooth stone, etched with a single looping symbol on her 7th birthday. A key to understanding, she'd called it. For when the time is right. Elara ran back to her bed, fumbling under her pillow. Her fingers closed around the cool, smooth surface of the stone. It wasn't really a stone, of course. It was a data locket, disguised as a polished river rock. Its surface was a dull grey, but the etched symbol seemed to hum with a faint energy. Lumi, do you recognize this symbol? Elara held up the locket. The emerald glow intensified, scanning the object. Affirmative, That is Grandmother Lyra's personal authentication glyph, often used to seal her most private data streams. It is a variant of the ancient Terran symbol for journey or exploration. Lumi's voice held a new layer of intrigue. If this is indeed a key, it would grant access to a specific portion of her legacy archives. Elara's heart pounded. How do I use it? Typically, such biokeys are activated via direct neural interface or a dedicated reader. Grandmother Lyra's personal terminal, for instance, had such a reader. Lumi paused. However, I believe the ancestral data slate Papa was holding might also serve the purpose. Its energy signature matches the locket's frequency. Elara looked back at the wall, at the ghostly image of the jagged spiral. The ancestral data slate was Papa's, kept in his study. She wasn't allowed in Papa's study without him. But this was important. More important than rules about rooms. This was a secret from Grandma Lyra. A daring thought sparked in her mind. Lumi, can you project me into Papa's study? Lumi's chime was swift. Negative, Elara. Access to Papa's private quarters is restricted by his parental protocols. Any attempt would trigger an immediate alert. Elara slumped. Of course. Papa was very particular about his privacy, especially with his research. She couldn't just goy there. But what if she didn't doy? What if I just saw it, she asked, a new idea forming. From here, like a window. Lumi hummed thoughtfully. A passive visual feed, without physical presence or interaction, might be possible with a sufficiently strong resonance pathway. However, the data slate itself is shielded. Direct visual acquisition would be challenging. Elara held up the locket. What if this helps? Grandma Lyra's key. Another pause, longer this time. Lumi's emerald light flickered, as if processing complex computations. The locket appears to be more than a simple key, Elara. It emits a faint multi-spectrum energy field. It appears to be a conducting as well. If you focus your intent while holding it, I may be able to piggyback on its resonance frequency to establish a temporary, non-invasive visual link. Show me Papa's study, Lumi. Show me the data slate. Elara clutched the locket tight, focusing all her energy on the image of the dark, smooth slate in Papa's hand. She closed her eyes, picturing it, feeling the weight of the locket in her palm. The emerald glow around her intensified dramatically, swirling into intricate patterns that danced across the ceiling and walls. It felt like the entire room was holding its breath. Then, a small shimmering rectangle appeared in the center of her wall, like a window opening onto another dimension. It was blurry at first, but then it sharpened, resolving into a clear, albeit slightly distorted, view of Papa's study. It was exactly as she remembered it, shelves filled with ancient data crystals and holographic texts, a massive desk covered with schematics, and in the center, a pedestal where Papa often left his active projects. And there, on the pedestal, was the ancestral data slate. Dark, unassuming, waiting. You did it, Lumi. Elara breathed, her voice a mixture of awe and nervous excitement. The locket's resonance is surprisingly potent, Lumi replied, her voice sounding a little more strained than usual. Maintain focus, Elara. This link is fragile. Elara approached the projected window, her heart thumping against her ribs. She raised the locket, pressing it against the shimmering image of the data slate. She imagined the locket connecting, unlocking, flowing energy into the slate. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the dark surface of the data slate in the projected image began to glow with a faint inner light. The jagged spiral pattern, so ghostly on her own wall, now pulsed vibrantly blue and red on the slate. It hummed, a silent vibration Elara could almost feel through the projection. Then, the spiral began to unfurl. It wasn't just a static image. It was a three-dimensional projection, expanding from the slate, twisting and turning, revealing layers Elara hadn't seen before. It seemed to be leading somewhere, a path laid out in stars. It's a map, Elara whispered, captivated. It's a map to the past. Suddenly, the projected image of the study flickered violently. The light from the data slate pulsed erratically. Elara, the energy signature is becoming unstable. Lumi warned, her voice laced with urgency. The locket is attempting to establish a deeper connection than anticipated. Papa's security protocols are detecting an intrusion. What does that mean? Elara asked, her eyes wide with alarm. It means the link is about to collapse, and Papa will be alerted to the activity around his data slate. Before Lumi could finish, the window to Papa's study fractured into 1,000 shimmering pixels, dissolving back into the emerald glow of her room. The jagged spiral on her wall vanished too, leaving only the familiar soft light. Elara gasped, clutching the locket. She could still feel the phantom hum of the data slate, the twisting path of the star map touching. It had been real. Did Papa? No immediate alerts registered, Lumi said, her voice now back to its serene normal tone, as if nothing had happened. The link was severed just before the threshold. However, the locket now carries a faint imprint of the data slate's core frequency. It has absorbed a fragment of its information. Elara looked down at the locket. It was no longer dull grey. A faint blue light pulsed from within, making the etched symbol glow. It felt warmer now, almost alive. What kind of information? Elara asked, her fear quickly replaced by renewed curiosity. It appears to be a partial data stream, a historical log, encoded with Grandmother Lyra's personal encryption, too complex for me to fully decrypt without her direct biosignature or a more powerful processing core. Lumi paused. However, I can access the superficial layers. It seems to contain coordinates. Coordinates? Yes, a set of specific spatial coordinates. And a timestamp. A very old timestamp. Elara's imagination soared. Coordinates meant a place. A place that Grandma Lyra knew. A place in the past. Can you show me where they lead? I can attempt a basic projection into a simulated environment, Lumi offered. A visualization based on the coordinates and the limited contextual data available. It will not be a physical journey, Elara, merely a conceptual one, a dream state perhaps, but with real data. Yes, please, Lumi, show me. Elara's heart pounded with a mix of excitement and trepidation. This was it. The real secret. Very well. Please return to your bed, Elara. Lie down and hold the locket. Focus on the coordinates. I will align your neural patterns with the projected data stream. Elara scrambled back into bed, pulling the synth silk blanket up to her chin. She clutched the glowing locket in her hand, its warmth a comforting presence. The emerald light in the room began to deepen, shifting from soft green to deeper teals and blues, then to purples and indigos, mimicking the deep hues of space. The walls of her room seemed to dissolve, replaced by an infinite starfield. Tiny pinpricks of light, distant galaxies, swirled around her. The air grew cool, smelling faintly of ozone. It wasn't just a projection, it was an immersion. Focus, Elara, Lumi's voice echoed, no longer coming from the wall, but from everywhere and nowhere. Let your mind drift, follow the light. From the locket in her hand, a thin shimmering beam of blue light shot out, arcing across the starry expanse. It moved with incredible speed, pulling Elara's perception along with it, past nebulae, asteroid fields, and swirling cosmic dust. The jagged spiral patterns shimmered into existence around them, forming a tunnel of light that they plunged through. Faster and faster they went, until the individual stars blurred into streaks of light. Elara felt a strange sensation, as if her very being was stretching, expanding, becoming one with the light. She wasn't flying, she was being the journey. Then, as suddenly as it began, the journey slowed. The light tunnel dissolved. Elara found herself floating in absolute blackness, surrounded by stars, but these stars were different. They were fewer, older, somehow more intense. And directly before her, dominating the view, was a celestial body unlike anything she had ever seen. It was a planet, but not round and smooth like Earth or Mars. This planet was a colossal, crystalline structure, perfectly geometric, with vast facets that caught the distant starlight and refracted it into a million shimmering rainbows. It wasn't natural. It was built-in. Massive, intricate spires of iridescent crystal jutted from its surface, reaching towards the void like hungry fingers. Vines of pure energy pulsed beneath its transparent crust, glowing with the same blue and red light she had seen in the jagged spiral. The spiral itself was etched onto the planet's largest facet, a colossal glyph that pulsed with a slow, rhythmic beat. This is the destination. According to the coordinates, an artificial planet, designated Lyra's heart in grandmother Lyra's partial log. The timestamp indicates its construction began an estimated 5,000 cycles ago, and it was abandoned 3,000 cycles later. Ilara stared, speechless. Lyra's heart. Her grandmother's name. As she drifted closer, the scale of the structure became overwhelming. She could see colossal archways, bridges of pure light connecting the crystal spires, and vast empty plazas reflecting the cold fire of distant suns. There were no signs of life, no movement, just the silent, breathtaking grandeur of an abandoned marvel. Suddenly, a faint, flickering image overlaid the crystalline planet. It was a person. A woman, tall and elegant, with a familiar sparkle in her eyes. Lyra. Grandmother Lyra, but younger, with a determined set to her jaw. She was standing on one of the crystal plazas, looking up at the colossal jagged spiral. The heart of the Lyran network. Lyra's voice, younger and clearer than Ilara had ever heard it, echoed in her mind, not through her ears. A marvel of ancient engineering, designed to transmit knowledge across the galaxy. But its power source, it's failing. And with it, the memories of a civilization will fade. The image of Lyra flickered, replaced by a series of rapid flashes, ancient texts appearing on shimmering screens, diagrams of complex energy conduits, frantic figures working on massive crystalline machinery. Then, the image returned to Lyra, her face grim. They called it the Great Forgetting, Lyra's voice continued, tinged with sorrow. When the power failed, the knowledge streamed into the void, lost forever. But not all of it. A fragment was saved, a seed of memory, kept in a secure vault within the heart itself, a backup. Ilara understood. The jagged spiral wasn't just a map. It was a key to a lost civilization, and her grandmother had been trying to find a way to save it. The projection zoomed in on the crystalline planet, now showing a specific location, a hidden chamber deep within one of the largest spires, marked by a smaller, faint, jagged spiral. The vault is protected, Lyra's voice explained, her image now fading, becoming translucent. Not by force, but by a series of riddles, tests of understanding, not strength. The image of Lyra vanished completely, leaving Ilara alone in the silent star-filled void, facing the monumental crystalline planet. Lyra's heart. The jagged spiral glowed, a silent invitation. Grandma Lyra was here, Ilara whispered, the words feeling heavy and important. She was trying to save something. Indeed, Lumi confirmed, her voice now a hushed whisper, as if in reverence. The partial data stream ends there. It appears Grandmother Lyra was on a mission, a quest to retrieve this seed of memory from Lyra's heart, but there is no record of her success or failure in the available fragments. Ilara felt a powerful surge of purpose. Her grandmother hadn't just talked about the past, she had lived in it. She had tried to save it. And now, Ilara had seen the first clue. The giant crystalline planet, Lyra's heart, with its intricate spires and the colossal jagged spiral. And within it, a vault, holding the lost memories of an ancient people. Lumi, Ilara said, her voice firm, no longer that of a sleepy child. How do we get there? Ilara, this is a simulated experience. A data projection based on your grandmother's partial logs. This, Lyra's heart is located light years away, in a distant sector of the galaxy. Actual travel would require a starship, advanced navigation, and permission from the Galactic Council, not to mention a crew of highly trained astrogators and xenolinguists. But Grandma Lyra found it, Ilara insisted, her gaze fixed on the shimmering planet. She was there, and she left me this. She held up the glowing locket. She meant for me to find it too. The locket pulsed in her hand, as if agreeing. The jagged spiral on Lyra's heart pulsed in response. It felt like a conversation, a silent communication across millennia. The datastream mentioned riddles, Elara mused, remembering her grandmother's words. Tests of understanding, not strength. She looked around her, at the infinite stars, at the silent, majestic planet. This wasn't just a story anymore. It was a mission. Her grandmother's mission passed down to her. A new feeling bloomed in Elara's chest, a mix of overwhelming wonder and a daunting sense of responsibility. She was just Elara, a small girl in a comfy bed. But she held a piece of a cosmic puzzle, a key to a forgotten past. Lumi, she said again, her voice low and determined. We need to learn more about Lyra's heart, about the riddles, about the lost civilization. We need to help Grandma finish her mission. The simulated stars began to recede, the crystalline planet fading, the gentle emerald glow of her room slowly returning. But the feeling of boundless space, of ancient secrets, remained. Elara knew with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that her journey had only just begun. The jagged spiral was not just a symbol, it was a doorway. And she had already stepped through it. Elara blinked, the emerald glow of her room now fully reasserted, chasing away the last vestiges of stellar dust. Her parents, their faces etched with a familiar blend of concern and patient expectation, stood by her bed. Dad, with his kind eyes and perpetual slight frown of concentration, reached out to gently touch her hand. Mom, her expression softer, but equally probing, leaned in. Well, sweetie? Mom asked, her voice a low hum. What did you learn this time? Elara sat up, her heart still thrumming with the vastness she'd just experienced. It's about Grandma Lyra, she breathed, the words tumbling out in a rush. And Lyra's heart, and riddles, and a lost civilization. Mom, Dad, we have to help her. I know we do. Her parents exchanged a glance that Elara couldn't quite decipher, a mixture of knowing sadness and something else, something like a carefully guarded hope. Dad squeezed her hand, his thumb tracing patterns on her skin. We always knew you'd understand, Elara, he said quietly. Your grandmother, she always said you had a special connection to the stars, just like her. Mom sat on the edge of the bed, pulling Elara into a gentle hug. She left you something, darling, something she hoped would guide you when the time was right. Elara pulled back, her eyes wide. What is it? Come, Dad said, a newfound resolve in his posture. It's time for you to see it. They led her not to the main family study, nor to the common data archives, but to a seldom-used service hatch hidden behind a shifting holographic mural depicting an ancient earth forest. The mural shimmered, then dissolved, revealing a sleek, unadorned door. Dad pressed his palm against a scanner, and the door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a space Elara had never known existed. It wasn't a room, not really. It was a nexus. A circular chamber, bathed in a soft, pearlescent light emanating from the ceiling. Holographic projections of constellations, nebulae, and swirling galaxies slowly revolved in the air, creating a breathtaking, ethereal dome. Strange, beautiful artifacts rested on glowing pedest, fragments of what looked like petrified starlight, a smooth, dark sphere that pulsed with an internal violet glow, and intricate metallic structures that seemed to defy known geometry. In the center, a large, crystalline console sat, its surface a kaleidoscope of dormant data points. This was Grandma Lyra's hidden sanctuary, her private observatory, her laboratory. She spent years here, Mum whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Searching, connecting, dreaming. Elara walked slowly, reverently, through the space, her fingers trailing over the cool surfaces of the pedestals. The air hummed with a subtle energy, a ghost of her grandmother's boundless curiosity. She reached the central console, its surface beckoning. The jagged spiral symbol, the one she'd seen in the simulation, was subtly etched into the console's polished surface, almost invisible until she looked for it. This is where she kept her most precious work, Dad explained, stepping beside her. Her notes, her hypotheses, He activated the console with a series of precise gestures. The crystalline surface flared to life, projecting a vibrant, three-dimensional star chart into the center of the room. But it wasn't a standard chart. Certain stars pulsed with unusual intensity, others were connected by faint glowing lines that formed intricate patterns. Grandma Lyra believed that the universe itself was a puzzle, Mom added, and that the lost civilization communicated through these cosmic patterns. Then, a new projection materialized above the console. It was a holographic journal, Lyra's familiar face smiling gently out at them. Her eyes, so like Elara's own, sparkled with an adventurous spirit. "Me dearest Elare," Lyra's voice, warm and melodic, filled the room. "If you are seeing this, it means you have felt the pull. The stars have whispered to you, just as they whispered to me. The mission continues. The path to Lyra's heart is not a straight line, but a spiral. A journey of discovery, guided by ancient whispers and the language of light." The hologram shifted, and Lyra's face was replaced by a series of glowing symbols. They swirled, coalesced, and then settled into a single elegant phrase, rendered in a script Elara had never seen, yet somehow felt she understood. Beneath it, a translation appeared in Standard Galactic, where the twin suns bleed crimson, and the shattered moon weeps crystal tears. A whisper from the past softly sings of forgotten names and nascent fears. Shan. Elara stared at the riddle, a thrill of excitement, sharp and exhilarating, coursing through her. "This is it," she breathed. "The first riddle." Dad leaned forward, his brow furrowed in thought. Twin suns bleeding crimson, shattered moon weeping crystal tears. That sounds like a specific celestial body. But where? Mom, ever the pragmatist, was already at another part of the console, her fingers dancing across a smaller interface. Our star charts are vast, but not every system is documented with such poetic detail. We need to filter for specific astronomical phenomena. She brought up a vast database, filtering by stellar classification, planetary geology, and atmospheric composition. Elara's mind, however, wasn't just on data. She closed her eyes, picturing the crimson bleed, the crystal tears. It felt less like a scientific description, and more like a feeling, a memory. Grandma Lyra said the lost civilization communicated through patterns, she mused aloud. What if it's not just a description of a place, but also a clue about how to find the next step? Suddenly, the dark sphere on the nearby pedestal pulsed brighter, its violet glow intensifying. Elara walked towards it, drawn by an invisible thread. As she reached out, a soft hum vibrated through the air. The sphere projected a small, intricate holographic image, a stylized depiction of two stars, one red, one orange, intertwined and orbiting them, a planet with a ring of glittering debris. It was the jagged spiral, transformed into a miniature solar system. "The astrolabe," Dad exclaimed, his voice filled with surprise. "Your grandmother's personal celestial navigation device. She always said it had a mind of its own." Elara touched the holographic projection of the twin suns. As her finger grazed the image, the console in the center of the room whirred. The star chart zoomed in, focusing on a single, previously unremarkable system at the edge of the known galaxy. A system that, according to the astrolabe, contained a planet with two suns, a red dwarf and an orange giant, and a prominent highly reflective debris field orbiting it. "System Silos 7, Mom read from the console display, her voice tinged with awe. "Planet Viridia, known for its intense atmospheric storms, rich mineral deposits, and a peculiar geological feature, crystalline formations that refract light into vivid, almost tear-like patterns during planetary twilight. The shattered moon weeps crystal tears," Elara whispered, the words fitting perfectly. "Viridia." A sense of excitement, almost overwhelming, bubbled up inside her. This wasn't just a game or a story anymore. This was real. Grandma Lyra's mission, her legacy, was unfolding right before her eyes. "But Viridia is a frontier world," Dad cautioned, his initial excitement giving way to his characteristic worry. "It's largely unexplored, and some reports suggest unusual energy signatures." "That's exactly why Grandma Lyra would have gone there," Elara countered, her voice firm. "It's where the whispers are strongest. We have to go, Dad. We have to see what she saw." Her parents looked at each other again, a silent conversation passing between them. Elara knew they were weighing the risks, their protective instincts warring with their deep respect for Lyra's memory, and now, Elara's burgeoning determination. Finally, Mom sighed, a small smile playing on her lips. Your grandmother always said that some paths are meant to be walked, not just observed, but we don't go unprepared. This isn't a leisurely trip, Elara, this is an expedition. The next few days were a whirlwind of preparation. Elara spent every waking moment in Lyra's sanctuary, poring over her grandmother's holographic notes, familiarizing herself with the astrolabe, and learning about Viridia. She discovered that Lyra had theorized Viridia was not just a natural formation, but possibly an ancient outpost, deliberately shattered and disguised by the lost civilization to protect a vital secret. The crystal tears were not just ice, but exotic minerals, possibly containing encoded data or energy. Their ship, the Stardust Wanderer, was a sleek, privately owned interstellar vessel, not large but incredibly advanced, designed for long-range exploration and scientific observation. It had been Lyra's ship, meticulously maintained by Elara's parents, anticipating this very moment. Its interior was a marvel of ergonomic design and adaptive technology, with comfortable living quarters, a fully equipped lab, and a cockpit that offered panoramic views of space. Your grandmother preferred to pilot manually when she could, Dad explained as they strapped into the pilot and co-pilot seats, Elara in the observation chair directly behind them. She said it helped her feel connected to the journey. Elara watched, mesmerized, as the Stardust Wanderer lifted smoothly from their home's integrated launch pad. The dome of their city, a shimmering bubble of light and life, receded below them, then the sapphire curve of their home planet, Solara Dentil. Soon, they were in the inky blackness, the distant sun a brilliant pearl. Activating jump drive, Mom announced, her fingers expertly gliding over the console. The stars outside the viewport elongated, stretching into shimmering streaks of light, then snapped back into perfect static pinpricks as they accelerated into hyperspace. The journey to Xylos 7 would take several days, a blur of non-space and distorted time. During the journey, Elara delved deeper into Lyra's archives. She found more than just scientific data. She found poetry, personal musings, and even recordings of Lyra speaking directly to her future self, or to Elara. The universe speaks in whispers, Elara. Lyra, holographic image reiterated, projected onto a small portable device. But sometimes it shouts through silence. The lost civilization, the ancients, they understood this. Their technology, their wisdom, their very essence, is woven into the fabric of space itself. They didn't just build, they imbue. Elara spent hours studying images of Viridia, the target planet. It was a world of stark beauty and terrifying geological activity. Massive crystalline structures, like colossal, jagged cathedrals, pierced its dense crimson-tinged atmosphere. During its unique twilight, when both Xylos Prime, the red dwarf, and Xylos Secondary, the orange giant, were visible, the crystals shimmered with an almost liquid light, creating the illusion of weeping tears. The atmosphere is thick with fine silicate dust, Dad explained one evening, as they shared a meal in the ship's cozy galley. That, combined with the extreme temperature fluctuations between day and night, makes ground exploration challenging. What about the energy signatures? Elara asked, remembering his earlier caution. Mom brought up a new display. Intermittent, highly localized, and utterly alien. They don't conform to any known energy output. Your grandmother believed they were residual echoes of the ancients' technology, possibly dormant, or perhaps a form of communication waiting to be activated. As they approached Xylos 7, the twin suns grew steadily larger in the viewport, painting the void with their fiery hues. Xylos Prime, a deep, brooding crimson, and Xylos Secondary, a vibrant, burning orange, spun in a slow cosmic dance. Viridia emerged into view, a jewel shrouded in a perpetual swirling crimson haze, its crystalline formations gleaming like broken glass. Initiating atmospheric entry sequence, Mom announced, her hand steady on the controls. The ship vibrated gently as it plunged into Viridia's upper atmosphere. Outside, the crimson haze intensified, swirling around the viewport like a living, breathing entity. Lightning, crackling with unnatural violet energy, occasionally arced between the towering crystal formations, visible through the dissipating clouds. "The astrolabe is reacting," Ilara noted, her voice hushed. The dark sphere on the console in front of her pulsed rapidly, its violet glow now a vibrant, almost urgent throb. It projected a faint shimmering spiral pattern, superimposed over a specific region of Viridia's surface on the main navigation screen. "That's a region called the Whispering Peaks," Dad said, his eyes on the navigation display. "According to Grandma Lyra's notes, it's where the crystal formations are most dense and the energy signatures most pronounced." They descended further, breaking through the main cloud layer. Below them, Viridia's landscape unfolded, a breathtaking, alien vista. Jagged, colossal crystals of every imaginable shade of red, orange, and violet erupted from the ground, forming immense natural spires and canyons. Rivers of molten minerals flowed through deep chasms, glowing with an internal fire. The air, even filtered through the ship's systems, felt heavy, charged. As the twin suns began their slow descent towards the horizon, the true spectacle began. The vast crystalline structures caught the light, refracting it into a dazzling, ethereal display. It was as if the very mountains were weeping, shedding tears of pure, glittering light. The shattered moon was not a moon at all, Ilara realized, but the planet itself, adorned with these magnificent, broken crystal formations. "They're beautiful," Ilara whispered, utterly captivated. "And dangerous," Mom reminded her gently. "Our sensors are picking up highly localized atmospheric disturbances around those central peaks, Ilara, and the energy signatures are off the chart." The Stardust Wanderer settled into a hovering position above a wide plateau, surrounded by the Whispering Peaks. Below them, the ground was a mosaic of fractured obsidian and shimmering crystalline dust. The air thrummed with the strange energy Lyra had noted. "Our landing drone should be able to navigate the terrain," Dad said, preparing the small multi-purpose probe. "But a human presence might be required for direct interaction." Ilara didn't need to be asked. She knew. "I have to go down there," she stated, her gaze fixed on the glowing spiral, now pulsing on the astrolabe, indicating a specific point within the Whispering Peaks. "Grandma Lyra didn't just leave riddles for us to solve in a comfortable lab. She left them for us to finding." Her parents nodded, their faces serious but understanding. "We'll prepare the atmospheric suits," Mom said. "But we proceed with extreme caution, Ilara. We don't know what we'll find." As they donned their suits, sleek and resilient against Viridia's harsh environment, Ilara felt a surge of exhilaration. The helmet sealed with a soft click, and her breath misted inside. The world outside transformed into a spectacle of filtered light and amplified sound, the hum of the ship now a distant thrum, replaced by the subtle crackle of Viridia's charged air. The ship's ramp extended, touching the ground with a soft thud. Ilara stepped out, her boots crunching on the crystalline dust. The scale of the landscape was immense, overwhelming. The towering crystal spires, some hundreds of meters high, loomed over them, catching the twin suns' dying light and scattering it into a kaleidoscope of crimson, orange, and violet. The astrolabe, now fixed to Ilara's wrist, glowed faintly, projecting the jagged spiral directly onto the ground before them, pointing towards a narrow shadowed canyon between two colossal crystal formations. The energy signatures were strongest there. "This way," Ilara said, her voice clear in the comm system. Her parents followed, their powerful suit lights cutting through the deepening twilight. The air grew colder, and the ground became more uneven, littered with strange iridescent pebbles that seemed to hum underfoot. As they ventured deeper into the canyon, the light from the setting suns dwindled, replaced by the eerie internal glow of the crystals themselves, pulsating with a soft, rhythmically shifting light. It was then that Ilara saw it. Embedded in the sheer wall of the canyon, where the crystal formations were most concentrated, was a distinct, geometric pattern. It wasn't a natural formation. It was a carving, ancient and intricate. And at its center, subtly glowing with a faint violet light, was the jagged spiral. As Ilara reached out to touch the symbol, the ground beneath them began to tremble. A low, resonant hum echoed through the canyon, vibrating through her suit, through her very bones. The crystalline walls around them began to pulse brighter, faster, their internal light intensifying until the canyon was awash in a blinding ethereal glow. The air crackled with raw energy, and the humming grew into a thunderous, overwhelming roar. Then, from the center of the carved spiral, a single, clear, musical note resonated, reverberating through the crystalline canyon, a whisper from the past, singing of forgotten names and nascent fears. And as the note faded, the colossal crystal wall before them didn't just glow. It began to shimmer, to distort, to dissolve as if turning into liquid light. A doorway, shimmering and ethereal, was opening into the heart of Viridia. The shimmering ethereal doorway beckoned, a curtain of liquid light parting to reveal not a dark cave or an empty chamber, but a realm beyond imagination. Elara, her hand instinctively tightening on Jasper's, stepped forward, her heart thrumming with a mix of awe and a delicious shiver of fear. Jasper followed, his expression a careful mask of protection, yet his eyes too widened with every passing moment. They stepped through, and the air itself seemed to change. It was cool, yet carried a warmth, like sunlight distilled. The ground beneath their boots was no longer rough crystal, but a springy, luminous moss that pulsed with soft internal light. Above them, instead of the familiar ceiling of the canyon, stretched an infinite expanse of swirling nebula-like colors, held aloft by colossal, tree-like structures made of polished iridescent metal that seemed to grow organically from the glowing earth. Then, it's on a haunted age. These metallic trees hummed with a low, resonant energy, their branches reaching towards the cosmic ceiling, occasionally bursting into showers of glittering motes that drifted down like slow-motion stardust. Everywhere, light was not just seen but felt. It vibrated on their skin, a gentle current of pure wonder. Small luminous creatures, like living constellations, drifted through the air, leaving trails of faint, musical chimes. The air itself tasted faintly of ozone and sweet, unknown blossoms. This was Viridia. By the stars, Jasper breathed, his voice a hushed whisper. It's... Elara could only nod, her gaze sweeping across the breathtaking panorama. This wasn't just a hidden chamber, it was an entire ecosystem, a world within a world, crafted with a grace and understanding of both nature and technology that defied her wildest dreams. The forgotten names and nascent fears, whispered by the portal, now seemed to take on a new resonance. Was this a sanctuary? A memory? As they ventured deeper, the path beneath them seemed to respond, brightening slightly with each step, guiding them forward. The metallic trees grew denser, their interwoven branches forming glowing arches that led them deeper into Viridia's heart. The chimes of the floating light creatures grew more complex, like a symphony unfolding around them. Suddenly, the path opened into a vast, circular clearing. In the center stood a colossal, crystalline structure, shaped like a single perfectly formed teardrop, shimmering with all the colors of the nebula above. It pulsed with a soft internal rhythm, like a gigantic slow-beating heart. Surrounding it, arranged in concentric circles, were thousands of smaller, intricately carved crystals, each one glowing with a unique, subtle hue. As they approached the central teardrop, the smaller crystals began to hum, a gentle chorus that built upon the previous roar, but this time it was harmonious, inviting. Elara felt a pull, an almost irresistible urge to touch the surface of the great crystal. "Wait, Elara," Jasper said, his hand gently restraining her, his eyes scanning for any potential danger. But there was none, only an overwhelming sense of peace and something else, a profound sadness. As Elara looked closer at the smaller crystals, she realized they weren't just decorative. Each one held an image, a fleeting flicker of light and shadow, like a holographic snapshot. She leaned in, and one crystal brightened. Inside she saw a fleeting glimpse of faces, ancient faces with kind eyes, smiling and laughing. Then the image shifted, showing hands working, building, creating intricate designs. Another crystal showed vast, gleaming cities under alien skies, then starships soaring through cosmic dust. These are memories," Elara whispered, understanding dawning on her. "This is what they preserved." Jasper peered over her shoulder, his jaw slapped. A galactic archive, a living history. The teardrop crystal pulsed brighter, and a faint resonant voice, not spoken aloud but felt directly in their minds, echoed through the clearing. It was a chorus of many voices, harmonious and ancient, yet tinged with sorrow. Welcome, wanderers. You have found the heart of Viridia. We are the keepers of what was. We are the echo of the Eldoria, a people who cherished the stars and feared the silence. Elara felt a wave of empathy wash over her. Who are you? What happened? The voices responded, a tapestry of shared consciousness. We lived, we built, and then, the great stillness came, a wave of cosmic energy that muted the stars, dissolved the light, and threatened to extinguish all awareness. We sought to preserve our essence, our knowledge, our very dreams. Here, in this sanctuary, we poured our lives into Viridia, becoming one with its crystalline heart, hoping that one day, someone would find us. The nascent fears became clear, the fear of oblivion, of being forgotten, of their entire civilization simply ceasing to exist without a trace. The forgotten names were their own, etched into the very fabric of this living archive. But why here? Why hidden? Jasper asked, his voice now imbued with a deep reverence. The stillness was vast. It sought to silence all. We chose a world beyond its reach, a pocket dimension woven from cosmic fabric and starlight, a place where the echoes of life could endure. We needed a keeper, a key, a heart that resonated with our memory. You, little explorer, carry that resonance. The voices focused on Elara. She felt a warmth spread through her chest, a connection to these ancient beings, to their sorrow and their hope. We poured our fears into the guardians of the outer gates, tests of courage and spirit. We wove our names into the songs of the canyon, waiting for one who could hear. And now, you are here. But Viridia too grows faint. The energy that sustains us, the light that powers our memories, dwindles. The great stillness, though distant, casts its shadow even here. Our light is fading. Elara looked at the pulsing teardrop, its glow indeed seeming to dim slightly even as she watched. Can we help you? She asked, her voice earnest. Is there something we can do? Your presence alone is a spark, a reminder that life endures. But to truly rekindle Viridia, to ensure our memories resonate for all time, a deeper connection is needed. The core of Viridia draws its power from a unique confluence of cosmic energy and conscious thought. We, the Eldoria, are consciousness, but our energy wanes. What is needed is a fresh, vibrant spark, a new memory, freely given, infused with pure wonder and hope. Jasper stepped forward, his hand resting gently on Elara's shoulder. What does that mean? What kind of memory? It is not just a memory, but an experience. A moment of profound, unadulterated joy, wonder, and curiosity. A moment that affirms the very act of exploration, of discovery. This energy, focused through a heart pure of spirit, can realign Viridia's crystalline core, drawing new power from the cosmic currents that flow beyond the stillness. Elara understood. They needed her, not just to find Viridia, but to energize it. To offer a piece of her own living spark. But what moment? What memory could be powerful enough? She closed her eyes, searching her own heart. She thought of the thrill of finding a new star in her telescope, the warmth of Jasper's hand, the magic of listening to his stories. But none felt quite right for this immense task. She needed something bigger, something that encompassed all the universe's wonder. Then, a thought bloomed. It wasn't a memory of something she had found, but something she hoped to find. A future memory. She opened her eyes and looked at Jasper, a radiant smile spreading across her face. I know, she said, her voice filled with quiet determination. The first time I step onto a new planet. A planet no one has ever seen before. Jasper's eyes widened, understanding. It was the dream that had fueled her since she was a tiny child. A dream he had nurtured. It was the essence of her spirit. Yes, the chorus of voices resonated, that is it. A dream yet to be realized, infused with the purest potential. A memory of the future. Elara nodded, resolute. She placed her hands on the cool, smooth surface of the colossal teardrop crystal. A tingling sensation spread through her arms, flowing into her chest. She closed her eyes again, not to recall. She imagined it with every fiber of her being. She pictured herself, older, yet still with the same bright curiosity in her eyes. She saw the sleek lines of a starship, its ramp descending onto a world of swirling emerald skies and forests of deep indigo. She felt the strange, soft crunch of alien soil beneath her boots, smelled the sweet, earthy aroma of unknown flora. She heard the whisper of an unfamiliar wind, saw the shimmer of distant twin suns. The exhilaration, the profound humility of being a tiny speck on a vast, unexplored world, filled her. The sheer, boundless joy of discovery, of connection to the unknown. She poured all of it, her hopes, her dreams, her lifelong yearning for discovery, into the crystal. It was a powerful, vibrant burst of pure, unadulterated wonder. As she did, the teardrop crystal began to pulse with an intensity that made the entire clearing glow. The smaller memory crystals around them flared, their images brightening, no longer faint flickers, but vivid, almost tangible scenes of the Eldoria's lives, their history, their art, their science, their love. The metallic trees thrummed with renewed energy, their stardust showers becoming a continuous, glittering rainfall. The air filled with a symphony of chimes and harmonies, a song of revival. Jasper watched, mesmerized, as Elara became a conduit, a living star, radiating pure, untamed wonder. He felt the surge of energy, warm and invigorating, wash over him. He felt the gratitude of the ancient Eldoria, a wave of profound thanks that brought tears to his eyes. When Elara finally opened her eyes, the world around them was vibrant, alive. The teardrop crystal pulsed with a steady, brilliant light, its surface swirling with cosmic colors. The Eldoria's memories hummed with a quiet power, preserved, rekindled. "It is done," the voices resonated, now stronger, clearer, imbued with renewed hope. "The spark is renewed. Viridia lives again. Your dream, little Elara, has become our future." Elara felt a sense of immense peace, but also a lingering connection to the Eldoria. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice soft. "We'll continue our vigil, our memories will echo, and our knowledge will endure, but now they will also share. The path will remain open for those who seek understanding, for those who carry the spark of wonder. You have given us new life, and in return, we offer you our wisdom, should you ever need it. You are no longer just a visitor, Elara. You are a friend of Viridia, a bridge between our past and your future." A gentle, ethereal current flowed from the teardrop crystal, washing over Elara and Jasper. It wasn't a physical force, but a feeling of warmth, of deep knowledge settling into their minds, a silent promise. They knew, intuitively, that the Eldoria had shared something profound, something that would guide them without ever being explicitly stated. Slowly, the intense glow of the clearing began to soften, though the vibrancy remained. The path they had followed earlier now beckoned, gently guiding them back towards the shimmering doorway. "It's time to go," Jasper said, his voice a little hoarse, but filled with an emotion Elara rarely saw in him, pure, unadulterated awe. He squeezed her hand. "You did it, Elara. You saved a civilization." Elara looked back at the glowing heart of Viridia, a bittersweet feeling washing over her. She would carry this experience, this connection, forever. It was more than just a discovery. It was a conversation across millennia, a testament to the enduring power of hope and dreams. They walked back through the metallic forest, the luminous creatures chiming their farewells. The shimmering doorway still stood, liquid light now swirling with a calmer, more serene energy. As they stepped through, the vibrant colors of Viridia faded, replaced by the familiar, yet now profoundly changed, crystalline canyon. The colossal crystal wall that had dissolved to form the doorway now reformed, slowly, like water turning to ice, its surface shimmering with residual light. The carved spiral in its center pulsed once more with a soft final hum, then faded to stillness. The thunderous roar that had filled the canyon was gone, replaced by a quiet reverence. The canyon, which had once felt merely beautiful, now felt like a sacred space. Every crystal, every whisper of wind, seemed to hold a deeper meaning. The air, once just cool, now carried a faint echo of the sweet unknown blossoms of Viridia. Jasper looked at Elara, his eyes shining. "You won't ever forget this, will you?" Elara smiled, a deep, knowing smile. "Never, and I think Viridia won't forget us either." She reached out, touching the smooth, cold surface of the now solid crystal wall. She could almost feel the faint hum of memories within, alive and vibrant. They made their way back through the labyrinthine passages of the crystal caves, the journey feeling different now. Every shimmering facet of crystal, every echo, seemed to resonate with the profound experience they had shared. They walked in comfortable silence, their hands clasped, a silent understanding passing between them. When they finally emerged from the caves, the twin moons were high in the ink-black sky, casting long silvery shadows across the desert landscape. The air was crisp and cool, carrying the familiar scent of rock and distant, hardy desert flora. Their shuttle, parked exactly where they'd left it, seemed a comforting beacon of home. As they climbed into the cockpit, Elara settled into her seat, looking out at the star-dusted sky. The stars above, which she had always loved, now seemed to wink with a deeper secret, a greater story. She knew now that somewhere out there, hidden from plain sight, were countless other wonders, other civilizations, other dreams waiting to be discovered. Jasper started the engines, the gentle hum a familiar lullaby. He glanced at Elara, his smile soft. "Ready for the journey home, little explorer?" Elara leaned back, a profound sense of peace settling over her. She closed her eyes, and in the darkness behind her eyelids, she didn't just see the stars. She saw the swirling nebulae of Viridia, felt the gentle hum of ancient memories, and tasted the sweet alien air of a planet yet to be discovered. Her heart, once full of just curiosity, was now brimming with a quiet certainty. The universe was vast, full of forgotten names and nascent fears, but also full of boundless wonder and endless hope. "Ready," she whispered, already dreaming of the worlds yet to come, and the stories she would one day tell. The journey back to their asteroid home would be long, but filled with the new, vibrant light of Viridia, a light that would guide her dreams for all her nights to come. And as the shuttle lifted off, a single clear, musical note, a whisper from the heart of a crystal world, seemed to sing her gently to sleep.